Capitol Police find an initial test of the white powder sent in a suspicious package to Senator Rand Paul is not dangerous. The FBI is now investigating the large envelope, which was addressed to Paul's home in Kentucky. On the outside was this photo with the message, quote, "I'll finish what your neighbor started." This comes after Richard Marx, a 1980s singer who now has a podcast, tweeted, "I'll say it again. If I ever meet Rand Paul's neighbor, I'm going to hug him and buy him as many drinks as he can consume." Marx was referring to the 2017 incident when Paul was assaulted by his neighbor. Marx says Paul's decision not to get the COVID-19 vaccine is putting others at risk. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is here exclusively. Senator, good to have you with us today. You tweeted, "I have been targeted multiple times now. It is reprehensible that Twitter allows C-list celebrities," referring to Marx, "to advocate for violence against me and my family." But let's start with where this investigation is now. Any information on who may have sent you this letter with the white powder?
No, they will investigate it. It's hard to find people who send things to the mail, but they do sometimes, and they will continue to look. But for, people like this, songwriter from a long time ago that no one's ever heard of, the thing is that hundreds of people on Twitter every day are wishing me violence, wishing my family violence. Twitter claims that they have a policy, but they don't take it down. They leave it up. Twitter's now announced today this guy doesn't violate their policy. So he's allowed to offer to buy drinks to somebody. I almost died at one time from the infections and from the lung surgery that I had. And they're allowed to go on Twitter every day. This company allows them to go, and it's a private company, so they can do it if they want. But this is a private company that basically hates conservatives, hates Republicans. They don't want us on there. And ultimately, the answer maybe is Republicans need to just quit. We just need to leave it, because every day they allow hundreds, if not thousands of people to wish me and my family violence. And frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of them allowing this, and I'm tired of them blaming it on the right. I was at the ball field when a Bernie Sanders shooter almost killed Steve Scalise, wounded 5 other people. So I'm sick and tired of the violence coming from the left, but I'm sick and tired of the left-wing press then blaming it all on Donald Trump or on me or others. So I'm tired of it.
You make an excellent point. And, when I think about people who I've heard of and known who, retweeted an article or something, and then suddenly they get shut down. And you look at this stuff that has been coming at you, and I think it's understandable that you feel that there should be some ramifications for this. The problem is there's no standard. It's so arbitrary. They just sort of decide whether or not they like something or someone, and they're okay with it. So somebody, tweeted about what Mr. Marx wrote, and then he, says back to this guy, John Dennis, "You see, Johnny Bob," and he goes after him. He says, I never incited or even suggested that anyone be violent." And he talks about Trump and Mar-a-Lago. What do you say to his claim that he never suggested anybody do any violence towards you?
Well, I had 6 ribs broken, 3 of them dislocated where they rubbed on each other for weeks and weeks till they healed. They damaged my lung. I had pneumonia twice. A year later, I was coughing up blood, then had to have a portion of my lung removed, then got an infection in the space between the lung and the chest wall and almost died from that and have permanent scarring of my lung. And he's offering a guy to buy drinks if somebody will do it again and finish the job. That sounds to me like he's advocating violence. Sounds like he's a despicable human. But think also about what he's angry about. He's an irrational idiot. He's angry because I'm not getting vaccinated. Well, guess what? In India, there's not enough vaccines. Do you think we should be debating whether people in India should be getting the vaccine who have already had the disease, or whether we should save the vaccine for those who have not gotten the disease? This is a discussion that is a public health discussion that could save millions of lives. In Israel, they discovered that those who had gotten the disease survived equally well to those who had gotten the vaccine. It's about the same. So when there's not enough vaccine for the world, the advice to the countries who don't have enough vaccine is incredibly important. Millions of lives depend on it. And that's the idea that I have, that you should vaccinate first those who have not had the disease and let the people who have had the disease count on their natural immunity. Nobody wants to get infected, but if you've been infected, you have some natural immunity. This should not be a political issue. They should not want to kill me and send anthrax to my house.
I don't understand the anger over this. And I also don't understand why we're doing so much national testing. Why aren't we testing people for antibodies so that they can decide, well, then I guess I can wait a little while. I have some natural immunity. Perhaps it should go to someone in India, as you well point out, who maybe needs the vaccine more than I do. The fact that this drives people to such anger is, I think, I don't know, it says something about our society. Last thought, sir.
No thinking. Everything's one size fits all. We're all lemmings, pound the round peg in a square hole. Nobody's allowed to have the freedom to make their choices, and it's a sad day for America if we let this groupthink take over.
Senator Paul, thank you.